Ooh. Hey guys, Dan here, DSP Shop. Just want to take a quick minute and address something in the video. So I don't know what I've titled this thing or whatever. I'm sure it has something to do with bad parts or something like that. So instead of doing a whole separate video on this, I know I've been kind of complaining. It's just my luck. I've been getting bunk parts left and right lately, and I don't know what it is. I pay for all this stuff. None of it is sponsored. None of it is given. I'm a sucker just like you guys, wasting my paycheck on hot rods. Anyways, the long and short is, I'm going to, spoiler alert, you have to act surprised when it happens in the video in about 10 minutes. I got a set of headers, which I talked about before, for this LS. They're LS Tri-5 headers. They're meant exactly for this purpose. Everything was great. I had put them in, and I put them in loose, and I was starting working the exhaust. That's what we're doing in this video. And the headers were just a little loose. I was like, oh, I'll just put a couple more bolts in with a bunch of washers, because I don't have the right length bolts, story of my life, just to lock them to the head so the exhaust will be lined up. Makes sense, right? I'm struggling. I can't get the bolt started. I'm like, I mean, header bolts can be tricky, but LS stuff is easy. Like, it's not a small block Chevy where you gotta like just thread the needle. So I'm like, what the heck? Take it off. The flange, I believe, was welded backwards. So there's two holes that are staggered, top and bottom, and they were the other way. So anyways, now the problem was these headers were scratch and dent sale from Speedway. Now this is where I'm like, oh, here we go, all sales final, this and that. So I blasted them off an email, and they got back to me within a day and said, yep, our mistake is what it is. We'll send you out a brand new set, keep the old ones, whatever, so I can fix them. Which ultimately I would have done anyways. But I just want to say, stuff happens, and you know what? Some suppliers are better than others at standing behind their product. And I gotta say, I had a couple issues with Summit, and they stood tall and got everything fixed up right away, no questions asked, which is fantastic. Which I think we can all admit or accept, nothing's perfect, and I understand they're just people. Just like, let's be honest, I make a lot of mistakes in my life, so stuff happens. They're not trying to sell, in my mind, try and sell stuff on purpose that is poor quality. Nobody wants that. Obviously, they won't be in business very long if they're selling junk product. So Summit that happened to, and then Speedway. Now I do order a lot of stuff, I guess, in general for the average person. But you know what? Cool, calm, collected. Sent them an email. It got back to me within a day, within 24 hours, and sent me a new set. So nothing but good things to say about Speedway. I wish their U.S. dollar was better somehow, but that's not really their issue. And brokerage. Other than that, we're golden. So we got new headers on the way, but we do carry on anyways and get it finished because well, that's what we do at DD Hack Shop. Anyways, enjoy the video. Hopefully I didn't spoil it for you. And yeah, go give Speedway a thumbs up wherever, because I gotta say, no return, all sales final, and still kind of stood tall. I'm pretty appreciative. Enjoy the video. What's going on, guys? Dan here, DSP Shop. Man, cleaned up a little bit in here. Look, it doesn't even look like there's trash everywhere. Don't look over there. It's a little rough. But 56 Chevy wagon, officially LS swapped. I mean, the motor's in there, it doesn't really run or anything. So the last video was a battle, but we got the motor and transmission situated. I've been doing just a little screwing around today. I double checked all the motor mount bolts and the sliders, so they're all dialed with tight. I pulled the welder out. I have I put on a tilt column in this thing. It has a little, coupler to join them together. I'll show you. And it has a couple of bolts kind of go through it, and I just gave it a quick weld to the shaft itself. On these Tri-5 Chevys, the steering box, the shaft goes right into it, so it'll impale you. So you got to cut it off, kind of oblong it, and it's a little kind of So a couple of welds always make me feel better, but it's still removable, so that's good. I brought out the scratch and dent headers and the intake manifolds. I think what we're going to try and do, make sure the intake still fits around the dipstick tube. If there's anything we have to worry about there, we'll address it now and see what our limitations are going to be with this kickdown cable. I'd like to be aware of that sooner rather than later, or the TV cable, I should say. And we'll see if the headers fit. They may have to go in from the bottom. I don't quite remember, but I think passenger side is smooth sailing. Get those kind of dialed together, get them bolted up, see where we end up, maybe put the starter back in, and then see what we're going to have to do for exhaust. Again, now that I've changed the cross member, I want to change the exhaust system on this thing. I think we're just going to run straight back into a set of mufflers, and we'll get tailpipes put on down the road. But basically, hopefully today we can get the motor looking like a motor again, get the core support back in, start getting some wires run, go from there. We're waiting on parts, so get as much done as we can while we can. Okay, so step numero uno. That's our trans kick down, or our shift linkage. Out of the way. So the main issue, which we're gonna have with this hot rod, well, we're gonna have a lot of issues. Let's be honest. That's hot rod. If it wasn't for issues, it'd be called napping. But what we're gonna run into is I'm running a 700 R4 transmission, and a lot of people told me I'm an idiot and I should run, you know, electronically controlled, all that. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm working with what I got. I got a line on a 4L80, but I don't have it yet, so this is what we're doing. And honestly, this thing isn't going to be a real race car. We're really bagging on it. It's going to be a long haul cruiser, and I think actually Danny's going to just drive it and kind of chuggle along with the dogs. So really, what do we need? It is a rebuilt 700R with better clutches and stuff. I'm not saying it's fantastic, but at one point people ran these behind big block Chevys, right? So I'm sure it'll be fine. But what that leaves us with is the TV cable. Now, the TV cable, for those of you who are not in the know, it's kind of like a kickdown table in a, you know, like a standard automatic transmission, but instead of it being a kickdown, it controls the pressure in the transmission. So even under medium and light throttle, it's not necessarily kicking down, but it controls how much pressure is applied inside the transmission. So if you don't have this hooked up and you're beating on it, it will destroy the transmission like right now. So it is very important to have. Now, we are running a mechanical drive-by, I don't know if it's perfect, drive-by cable. Look at that. Maybe you can't see with the dipstick too, it'll be just perfect. Intake manifold. Now, again, I know I'm giving up cruise control and a few things like that, but I don't know why, but in my head, I just like the idea of a cable-operated throttle. So this is going to be just fine. I was worried we wouldn't have enough room, but we should be okay. This one does have a little kind of jut-out piece designed for cruise control. It will not be at the correct angle. We'll have to modify that, because obviously, what are we going to do there? I guess we put something kind of off the bottom. I did see there was some reading on the internet. People use like a protractor. It gives you the correct angle of if the cable comes out kind of straight, up to make a bracket for it where it should be on the LS, or I guess the throttle body. Because in before drive-by-wire, in like 98, I guess, or so, Camaros and all that, this is the throttle body they would have had, and they would have had, I guess, that transmission. So we'll see. But anyways, that's kind of how that's going to work. It should work okay. We'll have to obviously have a dual bracket anyways, because we'll have to have the cable for that. So that's really good. Bonus, worked great around the transmission. Man, this thing's going to really come together. I did a little work on the crossbar in the last video, so we have the motor set forward a little bit, which I can actually put my hand behind the cylinder head. What a concept. In my black 55, that was not an option. So let's just go ahead and start hanging the headers for exhaust. I hate doing exhaust, but especially redoing exhaust. Oh. What cylinder does that go in? So the passenger side, you guessed it, will fit. Did I just drop there? Oh. Hope it wasn't important. The passenger side will fit with no issues. Driver side may have to come up from the bottom, but I will say, if you're doing a Tri-5 LS swap, these Clipster El Cheapos, man, they fit good. Yeah, it's gonna have to come up from the bottom. But if you're running manual steering like I do and everything, this right here, little area where the steering box fits, is quite nice. So we'll is that where it's going to be? Yeah. We'll get this thing jacked up in the air and we'll see what we're working with. We should be able to hang the headers. I'm not going to put any gaskets in it. It did come with El Cheapos. I always get the real super thicks. I love those. So we'll get them kind of on there. We'll see what we're dealing with for maybe coil pack clearance issues. Looks like we should be okay on something that didn't fit. It was the 57. I don't know why. Looks like things are just going to go a little easier. Just jinxed myself there, but we're making a lot of progress. Okay, we're just going to take a minute and appreciate, man, these headers fit nice. So, I mean, passenger side is always easy for the most part. It's the driver side of these Tri-5s. If you're a Tri-5 guy or you're thinking about anything with that, man, look at that. Fit my fingers the whole way around it. And you can just see how that pipe is just perfectly run. And again, so those mounts, they ain't cheap. But now we have a lot of wiggle room forward and back if we have to. Like, it is the way to do it. You spend a few more bucks, but to save the time. Time is money, right? So anyways, we're up in the air now. I'm going to go ahead and grab some hardware for this. I believe it comes with a bunch of metric junk. We're going to go ahead and put standard nuts and bolts in there because that stuff's easy to get, and that's what I have. So we'll put the collectors on. We'll see where we're going to end up underneath, lining up. I'll show you there. I got some lengths of 2.5-inch pipe, a brand new length I found when I was cleaning up. So brand new but rusty, obviously. But we're going to run that. If I can just do a straight shot or a little jog around a few things into a muffler, have a hanger at the back at the muffler, and be done with that for now would be the absolute best. I say that, but it's still going to be a lot of work. I do have a drive shaft. I'm just going to hang it in there, I think, and see how it all kind of fits, just so we have an idea of where it's going to be and where it's going to hang down, because we don't want to have a muffler touching. As I recall, for whatever reason, it's tight to get friggin' mufflers and stuff on this damn wagon. I don't know why, it just is, but we'll figure it out. We always do. You guys want to see something funny? So I was putting these headers on, bolting them up, and getting them all snug, so I was going to start running the exhaust, right? And I can't get a couple of bolts. I'm like, what the hell? So I take it all apart, and I'm like, we have a situation. Now the problem I'm running into, these headers are wrong, and I believe it's a manufacturing issue. So it has to be hard to show here. I don't know how I'm going to do this. The bolt holes are top and then bottom for in between these two cylinders, but the cylinder head is actually bottom and then top, and everything else is centered. So I believe these flanges were welded backwards, which is a issue, and it doesn't look like there's enough meat to re-drill them, which is another issue. These were scratch and dent Speedway garage sale headers, but the little thing said they've been installed. Okay, that's fine, whatever, it is what it is. But it didn't say drilled improperly, so I don't know. And garage sale stuff is final sale, so I'll send off an email to Speedway, maybe they can do something for me. I mean, in the meantime, I can still carry on and fit the exhaust, because I believe it's just a flange is wrong, but that's a hassle. So yeah, I guess maybe check those things. I hung the headers on the motors with a couple of bolts, but I guess maybe you gotta check every single one. So either we can cut these off, re-weld them all together, or make a new flange, or I don't know what. I guess we'll see what Speedway has to say tomorrow. But that's a hassle. So anyways, I'll put a bolt in here, see underneath, keep working. Okay, well, I'm past my little pity party about the headers. We're gonna carry on. So I ended up cutting the front section of the pipe off the existing exhaust, I guess I should say, and I had modified you know, the collectors. Obviously they start off something like that, and then I butcher them to that. Now this side, the passenger side, appears as though it'll probably work. We're not too bad. We might have to just jog over a little bit, but we're gonna go ahead and use that, save me a bunch of work. This side, unfortunately, the headers these run were they drop down at different locations, which these ones do too, but this one's just not going to work out for me the way either I welded it or whatever. The holes aren't going to line up, and even if they did, you can see how it's going to drop down. We gotta tilt it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off, and we'll re-bolt that on and start screwing around. So I'll see you back under here with the welder shortly. Alright, well, we're back under here. Hope you guys got a decent little view. So we both of our header pipes and stuff. On this one, I ended up doing a slight have it. I cut a little pie cut out just to move the pipe over just ever so slightly. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that over tight. Hopefully this will. Let's give her a. Okay. So that way it'll be right in line. My little jut out. Now we have our other piece of pipe. Now we want to kind of match about the same-ish height. So that's what where it wants to be is the other one. And then aiming it there. Let's give it a little bit of hot glue. Wanders around when you a little heat to it. Back up. Just want to move it ever so slightly. That one's good. That one's not bad. This one, let's give a couple of little buzzes. Okay. Whew. Huh? Oh, maybe I need a little more there. Wow. Didn't even catch it on that one. There we go. So now those are all snugged up. I'll take those out. I'll weld them solid. That's a good downpipe to start with. I'll slap in a drive shaft. I might have some adapters to sleeve this and go into some more pipe further up with some mufflers. And we'll go from there. Should go together without too many issues. And it's nice, it's fairly tight, not much more we can do. A little bit below the frame, but well, we are limited by what we got. This should be good. It's above the control arms. That's all that matters. Okay, well, it's the next day. At this point in the video, I just found out we're getting new headers. Now, I'm sure I already talked about it at the beginning of the video because that's what I kind of mentally thought I would do. So, anyways, we're good. We're going to carry on with these existing headers on there just because they'll all bolt the same to the head, just a few more fastening points. So, we're going to carry on. I had the old exhaust off this thing, and I cut it all up because there's some unions. So we're running 2.5-inch pipe now. 2.5-inch is the outside diameter. So you get these unions and they're 2.5-inch inside diameter. So they just go together, just like kind of a plumbing fitting. They just kind of easier to kind of hold everything together. You can get a little bit of angle out of stuff. Anyways, Canadian Tire didn't have any of those out of stock. Story of my life. So I cut the old ones out and we're just going to reuse them. So a little bit more work, but it's fine. Anyway, under here, I got the one side kind of dialed together. I guess I should move the light here so it's not blinding everybody. So, at the front we have this. I think I'm going to weld, so I'm going to weld the whole thing. We'll just take it off right at the header. Now, it's hard to show on camera here, but it does jog out and then back in. A little bit more planning, I could have avoided that, but it is the way it is, and honestly, it'll be fine. Skinny guy. Back here, I hung in the drive shaft, so we got it sitting on top. So it will be lower, but ultimately, it'll give you the idea. We still got lots of room side to side. We have about 2 inches or so to the yoke itself, which will be spinny. We got it all just kind of tacked together, so that's where that is gonna go and be happy. And on the back side, I literally just put a little turn down, which I might just put like 2 tack welds in just to kind of hold it, because ultimately that'll probably come off when I get proper tailpipes put on this thing down the road. But this is just for now, trying to get the exhaust a little bit away. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it'll work out pretty good. We got some kind of ugly welds just tacked together, but very straight piece of pipe, nothing in the way. These mufflers, they are awesome, but they are big. They're tall and they're wide. Tri-Fis really do well with glass backs. But that's the way it is going to be. I'm going to take this one out and I'm going to weld it all up. We'll do that real quick, and then we will fast motion fitting the other side and tacking it all together. And I think that'll be it. It's pretty good. Yeah. There we have it. Look at that. It's in there pretty good. Ain't going nowhere. Got a bit of a whoop up front there. We're all dialed together. Got it welded up just with a hanger. Very simple. So, I mean, 2 little bolts there and 3 at the collector. That whole thing is out. So now, move on to the dark side. And you guys can watch me struggle as I try and hold a muffler up with a floor jack and measure and run some pipe and tack it all together and pull it out. I hate exhaust, but that's hot rodding. So we'll start on that side. We'll buzz through it in fast motion. That would only be like a minute for you guys, even though it'll be an hour for me. And I think I'm done for tonight, because I am tired. Okay, welding. Good time. So I got most of it done. Well, I got all of it done. I didn't film the whole thing because underneath here is terrible, but look at that. Dual exhaust. Looks pretty good. So, oh man. Turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Don't use clips anymore. Like I said, under here, the only thing I was thinking, so they're sending me out these headers. The reason they were on garage sale was A, obviously they were wrong when the guy returned them, but B, they've been discontinued and they have replace them with a new SKU number, and that's what's getting sent out to me. And I believe they're the exact same. They're a raw finish, not painted, which is irrelevant. They look to be the same. The only thing is, I was putting on my last weld on the tailpipe, or the dump. Hopefully the collectors are in the same space. Obviously it's going to fit around the steering box and all that, but I guess we'll figure that one out. Worst case, I guess I could fix these, but I'm excited for my new ones. So that's where I'm leaving it. I ordered a pile more stuff today. Man, today was an expensive day. We got the Holly kit. I ordered the last one 2.5 years ago. That's in the black car, and it has gone up 500 Canadian dollars in 2-3 years. So that's a little excessive. Got a few things off Rock Auto. I ordered a big radiator, so we gotta get that plumbed. But realistically, we should be able to get the car wiring back together in the next video. We gotta get some inside stuff dealt with, the core support back in, all that, and then wire up the car so everything will work. Like, you know, motor should crank over, headlights, all that. We just won't have any brum brum, and all we gotta do is fuel system, plug the Holly kit in, or driving. Famous last words. I won't have a rear end rebuilt. But that's where we're leaving it. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe below, leave a comment, all those good things, and I will see you on the next video.